This video is going to be a film study look at the Klint Kubiak run game that was unveiled in Seattle against the Kansas City Chiefs in the preseason week 2. My attempt here, or the structure of what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate this into 3 backfield sets. Essentially, this is an offensive line reliant scheme as it was on display against the Chiefs, meaning it's predicated on the movement, the skill, the coordination of the offensive line, their overall effectiveness. There's multiple running backs who put up big numbers. I'm not saying they don't matter, because I believe when Kenneth Walker III gets out there and gets a number of touches, along with Zach Charbonnet, you're going to see an even more explosive run game potentially. 3 separate segments here in terms of the running attack that I'll try to present to you. Number 1, the I formation. So fullback, tailback in the game behind the quarterback, both lined up on the midline. Second aspect is shotgun run plays, just one particular scheme that Kubiak ran a couple of times, and then a screen that was kind of built off of it on the same possession. Of course, I'm talking about the screen to Bobo for the first touchdown, or second touchdown, excuse me. And then the third will be one-back sets, what I typically refer to as ace. So quarterback under center, either 12 or 13 personnel. I've already talked about in a previous video the first possession with Sam Darnold, JSN, Cooper Kupp, and those guys on the field. I believe Kubiak there was a little bit of a pattern to his attack. I'll link that one up in the description or during the course of the video. Feel free to check it out if you have not done so already. So again, we're going to start off with I formation stuff. I'm going to try to do this in each video that I operate this year. Put a blue line to illustrate the right hash. So in this case, the field is to the top side and the boundary is to the bottom. Didn't really matter here. This is a tone setter on the first play of the game. In fact, you can see the I formation, fullback in front. So 21 personnel, twins I, JSN in motion. Of course, we know he returned later on. The offensive line is getting out on people, number 1. Number 2, the left guard and the center seem to be working really well to each other. The element that I really love about under center run game stuff is the quarterback's back ends up being turned to the defense at a certain time. So much of what modern defenses do now is predicated on being able to see the ball and see where the quarterback's looking. When his back is turned, you're put in run-pass conflict, and you're often put in horizontal conflict. Really great job by the backside tight end. I've actually already covered this one in that video where I analyzed the first possession. Charbonnet downhill. This is a tone setter. You come out the first play of the game, 21 personnel. There is no obfuscation, no trickery here. It's direct flow right at you, and you get a 13-yard gain. Moving forward to the second possession, Darnold is out again because I'm trying to package similar formations or sets consecutively for you so you can see how things are operating out of the eye in the shotgun, and then one-back stuff. So this is 21 personnel once again. So on the second possession, tight end motions across, creates what I call slot eye. So the tight end is in the slot with a receiver outside of him, and then the fullback, I'm going to try to be consistent and put him in purple, at least for this video, and it's lead, outside zone, or stretch. So the offensive line is just getting out on people. No games, no trickery, direct flow right at you, and let's see if you can handle it. And at least, on this day, 268 yards rushing, the Chiefs could not. And the Chiefs I couldn't think higher of a defensive organization, an organization from a defensive standpoint, personnel standpoint, how they draft, how they develop defensive players. Look at the center get out of here. You'll get the end zone angle. The center and Zabel. Sundel, the center, who I guess has been there for a year, but played at NDSU with him previously. He gets out to the mic and then trips over the D tackle's feet. So, it looks like the center gets kind of dumped, but he does not. He trips over a D tackle's foot right there. Fullback is leading all the way up to number 27. Look where 27 is lined up. He's a safety to the field. This is a huge advantage anytime your fullback can get all the way up to the safety level. Same play from the end zone angle. You can see the motion across. 43 has told the D tackles to check, thankfully, because this play hit big enough as it is. Check out how these guys get this done, number 1. Also, there's some good stuff by Bradford in here, at least in this cut-up that I'm going to show you. He's stepping out to the D tackle, and you'll see the lane that develops. First of all, there's the center working up to the linebacker, but he's passing off. Look at the little shove with his right hand, and that just basically allows Zabel to take him over. Zabel's not touching him. He can't reach him. 99 is reading and reacting to the center, so Zabel can't get him at all if it's not for this little punch to the inside by Sundel that lets him take it over, and then Sundel goes and gets 43. Now, that tandem is working really well together. I think Bradford is working really hard. You can see the fullback all the way up to the field side safety. This is a great tone setter. There's going to be, I'm sure, different layers revealed here during the season from a Kubiak standpoint, meaning every time they line up in the eye, it's not just going to be direct flow. There'll be some counter stuff, some play action, maybe some trick plays or reverse off of it. Multiple variations, I think. I didn't really know a lot about Kubiak until he signed with Seattle to come on as the offensive coordinator, and I saved a bunch of Saints film. Tried to produce a couple of videos in the offseason. If you're interested, you can feel free to go check those out. I'll link those up in the description as well. I'm sure that more will get revealed. It's like an onion, right? And we'll get closer to the center of that onion as the preseason and regular season advances. But what we've seen right now, direct flow right at you. Can you stop us? One more from the eye. It's the second possession. I think it's 2 plays after the one I just showed you. And it's 21 personnel group. I misidentified this in a reaction video that I did. I misidentified this as 20 personnel. This is Arroyo, or however you say his name. Apparently, I mispronounce it. He's up there lined up as an outside receiver. And then, once again, you can see the fullback in front of the tailback in the eye. I call this spread eye. It's a 4-3 personnel reaction or response from the Chiefs. So they responded to 21 personnel with their 4-3 personnel. Spagnuolo's generally a 4-3 guy. One safety lined up over the slot receiver. I think Bradford does a great job here getting up to the mic. That's the yellow line here. Bradford, once again, is the right guard. And then the fullback ISOs the Sam, 31. He's a rookie. And so you can see what happened here. Bradford goes to get the mic after helping the center with the combo. Look how the center is able to take over that nose tackle. Because Bradford, once again, punches him down to the center. Fullback ISOing up on the Sam, number 31. You'll get the end zone angle to see it. And then Martinez cuts off of it. I think this is the 19-yard gain that culminates the first quarter. Really finished that 15 minutes of play in a dominant fashion. Same play, end zone angle, purple line from the fullback. Like I said, I'm trying to be consistent there. He's working up to 31. Bradford's work here on this D tackle initially is very similar to what Sundel did to help Zabel. Now that D tackle is actually, that nose tackle is actually kind of stepping and then sliding with his foot. Now check out what Zabel does here. This is really cool. I put this on Twitter earlier. He's inside releasing to get up to 59. So Zabel is avoiding 99 completely and then hurtling over 92's foot. The awareness here, I think, is quite spectacular for any offensive lineman, let alone a rookie. I don't know how good he's going to be, but I'll just tell you what I think I see. I think I see a guy who's playing at a really high level, particularly next to the center, Sundel, however you say his name. That's about as big a gap in here for Martinez to fit through as you'll find in the NFL level. Like I said, 19 yards, right up the middle, right at him. The I formation stuff, at least right now, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Kubiak's offense in the final week of the preseason. You know, I suspect that a lot of these guys aren't going to play. There's no reason. They've already determined as an offensive line or offensive staff, what the offensive line can accomplish. And I think it's a lot. In my opinion, I'm looking forward to the day when we see a little bit more revealed out of the eye. And it's not just so brutally direct in its approach, but it was quite successful clearly against the Chiefs. Moving on, segment 2, or section 2, quarterback in the shotgun. So I call this, actually I have a mistype there. Actually, I call this A gun, where the running back and the tight end are on the same side. We use that with our players in high school, so it was a quick way for them to understand what was happening. Also, look at the width of Charbonnet. It's kind of like a wing T alignment for the halfback. So I have this totally backwards. This is now B gun with the running back and the tight end on opposite sides from each other. So A gun to B gun, what some people in the old days used to call far. This is trips. So there's 3 players to our left, or 2 outside of the tight end. I actually covered this one pretty extensively. The way that it ends up working out is all the offensive line is working to our left, their right, as it's flipped from the Seahawks perspective. The tight end here is eyeing 27. Cup actually picks him up. I think it's a read, but it could be just a pre-snap thing. But it certainly looks like to me, Barner 88 is reacting to the nickel doing absolutely nothing. And then Darnold might be, reading something here. I think it's Dana 51. But in any case, Charbonnet, really similar, if you ask me, to wing T buck sweep, is putting his foot in the ground. You got a really nice combo from the right guard and the tight end. It's a physical game here being played, even out of the shotgun. 6-yard gain by Charbonnet. Like I said, I covered that one, in detail in a video earlier over the weekend. Second possession, so moving forward here, and we're staying with the same looks. Shotgun, but this time it's a gun because the tight end, running back are on the same side. It's out of 11 personnel, so you've elicited the nickel response by the Chiefs with 2 safeties high against the twin slot A formation, A being the running back, tight end, same side. Fast motion, and then the run play is going to go against it. It's kind of like jet dive, where the jet action pulls you in one direction and the dive goes in the opposite. Really nice job here, if you ask me. I think it's Sundell getting to the nickel defender. And then Zabel taking over this defensive tackle. I think he loses him after a moment, however. And that's the guy that makes the tackle. End zone angle from the same play. There's the receiver that's going to go in fast motion. And the combo, the way that it works is the center is going to help out for a moment and then work up to the nickel defender, 27. Zabel's going to take over that nose tackle, reach, scoop, whatever you want to call it. Generally, scoop being on the backside, reach being on the front side. But Sundell looks good to me. Quick, athletic, gets things done with Zabel. Also, Bradford is kind of setting that D tackle to the outside, creating that seam for Charbonnet to cut underneath of. Really stressing the defense horizontally out of those shotgun formations or shotgun sets. So right hash, second possession. Like I said, this is going to be the second touchdown of the game. It's Bobo's slot screen. When I say they're threatening them horizontally, this is what I mean. It's another play that's horizontal. It's out to the outside. It's tunnel screen to the slot. If you recall, the previous 2 plays, that's basically what you've got. Zone blocking by the offensive line and the running back crossing the quarterback's face on what I call a sweep path and then possibly cutting it up. It's not what occurs here. It's a slot screen. The offensive linemen are all working here. And this is a nice job by Arroyo, or however you say his name. That's actually not Arroyo. My apologies. Of getting out in front along with an offensive lineman. At this point, it's pretty academic for Bobo. One cut, he's able to power his way in the end zone. I'll have something out on Bobo probably Tuesday morning. How is there so much space here? One of the things that one of the layers that's attached to this play is quite elementary, to be honest with you. This is the first block at the point of attack. My apologies. It's not Arroyo, like I said. But the tailback's path, it's going to pull this inside linebacker in this direction post-snap with him. So basically, the inside linebacker is locked on to the running back in coverage, and he goes with him immediately. There's no check at all with lock. He's just covering him. And you can see the way the blocks happen here. Those guys get out in front. Couple of offensive linemen kind of peel flat. I don't mean peel back, but they peel flat because there's no threat. The reason why there's no backside support is that linebacker that I spot shadowed or talked about at the beginning of the end zone angle. He went with the running back in motion. Total manipulation, if you ask me, of the defense. And like I said, Spagnuolo and the front office there in Kansas City, the way they've drafted on the defensive side, I think it was the 2022 draft, or maybe it was 21, one of those two, I think 22. That was about as good as it gets. They are able to develop players, utilize them in a smart manner, meaning limit their exposure to things that would identify their weaknesses, and play a really high-quality brand of defense no matter who's out there on the field. Whether you had second stringers or third stringers on the field, I don't know, but I know there's some really good players on the field in the first 2 possessions. Chenal, Dana, George Karlaftis, one of the D tackles I recognize. I think there's a good brand of football being played by the Seahawks, and to minimize it by just saying the Chiefs had practice squad guys and 4th stringers on the field. I saw one comment from an obvious Chiefs fan. That's absolute horseshit. It's making excuses. It was complete domination across the board. The offensive line for the Seahawks defined this game. The running backs were just the beneficiaries. Final segment or portion here is one back under center. This is, of course, the first touchdown of the game. Right? Darnold's still in. It's a split zone concept. I covered this in the first possession video. Arc release by the tight end. That's going to pull one of the DBs, and the other DB gets pulled by this motion here. So we're talking about, I think it's Noel Williams, a fantastic talent, who's a rookie out of Cal. And then Arroyo going out in the flats is pulling this safety. So you've got this conflict being put horizontally again by the motion, and then the arc release from, let's call it 18, the tight end. Additional to that, the split zone kick out by the other tight end creates a huge lane, no support whatsoever. Additional to that, there's nobody on the boot, so you'd have a third aspect or third layer possibly available the next time you show this look. Kubiak was really in control, if you ask me. He's probably got variations upon variations of how to attack teams. Going to look at some stuff from the, this is actually fifth possession. My apologies. I think I have this labeled second. That is not accurate. Balls on the left hash illustrated by the blue line. You got twin wing out of 12 personnel. So twin wing means twins down here, 2 wide receivers, and then the wing is tight end wing by these 2 players here. It's really 2 tight ends, but most references to it that I've seen is half field, so twin wing gets the point across perfectly. Number 1, leaving the backside D end unblocked. Toss play into the boundary. A little bit irregular. Don't see it a ton, and Halani is 1 missed tackle or 1 guy falling down from taking this to the house. And that's the thing from a excuses standpoint, or what was being made for the Chiefs, or what was said by at least one commenter and a person who, someone sent me an email telling me, how ridiculous my video was, talking about the Seahawks offensive line in glowing fashion. When you have multiple run plays on the same drive, be 1 play from being gone, one player falling down, missing a tackle, from being a long touchdown run, that is an absolute ass kicking. Really athletic job by the offensive line on this particular play. Zabel, the left guard, and the left tackle, I think it's Jones, are going to go get this defensive end. And then the center, Sundell or Sundell, whose name I'm probably messing up one way or the other, is reaching the one technique completely. A low pad level here by him. Beats the guy completely. And lo and behold, that's the seam that Halani cuts through for what I believe is a 30-yard gain. Look at the chaos that's been, unleashed here on the backside. When you have multiple guys down at the end of the play and you're a defense, that's 4 guys down at the end of a play. That leaves its mark on you mentally and trying to prepare for the next play and really the rest of the game. Again, I think I may have this wrong. Here I have second possession. I'm mixing and matching these. Keep in mind, I'm trying to present it in a mix and match fashion because I'm looking to go just give you the backfield sets and what they're running. I formation, direct flow right at you, smash mouth. Shotgun, horizontal flow, sweep path, if you will. 12 personnel, under center, ace stuff is a little bit more diverse or a little bit more inconsistent in terms of the running back path and where the ball is actually designed to go. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. So they're trying to expand this defensive end with another arc release by the first tight end. So we're talking about this tight end right here. He's going to arc release around the defensive end. They're trying to influence that defensive end to widen so that the second tight end can kick him out, and then the running back can kind of wind it underneath. Very similar to the touchdown run by Charbonnet. That's not really what happens here, however, even though that DN does kind of get widened up. Halani kind of takes it downhill, give you the end zone angle of it. Again, these are all my observations. I'm certainly not reading any articles. I'm not looking at anyone associated with the NFL. This is my analysis, my original analysis. That's one of the reasons why I think this is transformative and should stand up under fair use challenges, which I intend to do. So there's the DN that they're trying to influence or widen by the tight end's release, with the offensive line and the running back working in the opposite direction of this arc release. I do want to mention this. Compare Bradford's he does get up here to 43. Don't get me wrong. It's really nice. He rides him out of there. Bradford, the right guard. So this is clearly second possession. So I misspoke a moment ago. Because you still got Bradford and Zabel in there. My apologies for that. But it's a little different the way that he gets this done. It's not as low with his pad level. He just doesn't seem to be as flexible in being able to get out of there. So you can see his right hand is not clear. His chest is open for that defensive tackle. It doesn't dislodge him or disrupt him. There's the tight end with that backside D end who was supposed to be widened up by the arc release. And then here is Bradford working on the Mike linebacker. Huge lane for Halani to go downhill. Like I said, corrected. It was actually on second possession. This is a world-class defensive structure for the Chiefs. They've stood the test of time over the course of 3 or 4 years with different players on the field. Spagnuolo and the defensive staff do a fantastic job. We are definitely now on the fifth possession, and there'll be a hurry-up under center stuff. This is pin, pull, toss. So to the top side, you've got, I think, 3 tight ends. And when you get the end zone angle, you'll see how they're connected to each other. They've got their hands on each other, so they've got the right horizontal distance, and then they can execute the blocking scheme, which is really cool. It's kind of old school. Backside D end, unblocked, very similar to the previous play. 49, one of the tight ends is going to go get the force player. I think the left tackle here is going to pull and go get 34, a safety. 44, an inside linebacker, actually gets there to finish off the play, but he can't take right to the ground. Spins out of there. Again, one missed tackle, one guy falling down from taking this to the house. Multiple examples of that throughout this game, throughout the second half, in fact. Here's the design of it. So you're getting two, let me move that out of the way for a second. You're getting 2 pin down blocks here in purple, and then the left tackle and tight end looping to the outside to go lead for the toss concept. The center is trying to go get 44. It's just too far to go. It's not, realistic for him to be able to go execute this. 44 is going to win that battle pretty much most of the time. He gets to the point of attack, can't finish off a right. I think it's Jacardier Wright who does the Ray Rice drill, stays on his feet by using another point of contact on the ground. Last one, same play concept. Hurry up situation in the 5th possession. And pin pull toss into the boundary with Jacardier Wright. Once again, getting a really nice gain into the boundary. I think it's 9 yards. This time they get to 44. The Mike linebacker, they get to him with the pulling left tackle, 79. One more time, an example of one missed tackle, one guy falling down away from being an absolute touchdown. That happened enough times for me, for my eyes and the way that I was trained and taught the game, to say this was a complete mismatch from a physicality standpoint during this game. Great job by the left tackle. Don't even know, to be honest with you, who that is. I just know he was a part of a complete domination in terms of execution, in terms of scheme, and how the Seahawks wanted to go get things done and accomplish it on the ground. I really couldn't have a higher opinion of the Chiefs' defense, what Spagnuolo's done there, how they've drafted, developed players, and they've been exceptional in their usage. So much depth over recent years. As a Ravens fan, you guys probably may or may not know this. I'm a Ravens fan. I've looked at them and praised their front office and their defensive staff many times, and they've kept the offense in the game in the last 2 years in some situations where Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' offense hasn't lived up to their reputation and their billing. On this day, I recognize in the regular season might be a different level of preparation. 2 or 3 different players on the field, maybe 4 or 5, but the entire defense got beat. Everyone who was on the field got beat at the point of attack by blocks, running backs, breaking tackles, making people miss. Complete win for Seattle's offense, and I think it speaks volumes for what Klint Kubiak and his staff have been able to install and get done in training camp in preparing for the regular season. I appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please consider grabbing a link to this and sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.